English subtitles. Yes. We're just gonna turn it all the way up. There we go. What's the current time for?
We'll be back.
25. Wait, is it gonna make me do this in like military time? Yes, it is. God damn it. Okay, good. I just had to go backwards. 4:26 p.m. Got it. The end is never.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I am actually happy. I am so happy. I hate Mondays. Can I? I still can't jump. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is so cool.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
But I'm having fun. Leave me alone.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Am I gonna fall? Which way is left? I think this way is left. I'll be good. You can't jump. This is your first achievement?
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Tips for not getting
Feeling
fired.
a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
Don't
office,
get fired.
hoping he might find an answer there.
What is all this? Not efficient. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Ongoing. Who moved my desk? Everyone is unique. I'll go there later.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Wait, this opens? Wait, what? That's cool.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Down.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
We're just gonna speed run through this first.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Here's your office. Fired. Fired.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I pressed the off button, I think.
Blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Okay.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Hold on, texting my brother real quick.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Does this still work? It still works!
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
No.
Then in that case, we'll continue. No. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Would it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Wait. Begin the game again?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I'm just fucking around now. I already did the first one.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like, right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton.
Oh God.
He did it all day in a meaningful way. But his brain had long ceased to function.
Like mine.
Which is why he is in this parable, and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong, and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Is this gonna keep going? I can sit here all day. Da, 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 da. Well, I've never actually sat here when I originally played this, so I wonder how long this will go for. Do, 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 do. Okay, I'm a rip.
Oh.
Hi, Billy. Alright.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Let's see.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
I'm still gonna touch everything. You can't tell me what to do, narrator.
The graphics look a lot better.
Yeah.
Or is it just me?
They look better.
Like the graphics look better?
Yeah.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Fuck
open
you.
doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Maybe so.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
I'm not leaving.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
I love you.
A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Okay,
Really worth it.
but here's the thing. This is perfect. There are no more water cooler talks, no more fake nice, and I have to run in the
At
building
this
to
point,
myself.
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy.
Fuck
and
off.
reflected poorly on his
Yes, you just keep doing your job.
It's
Yeah.
possible that this is why everyone left. Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Okay, but here's the thing. I would be perfectly fine with everyone disappearing. I would happen to not to nobody. Like everyone in the workplace, I talk to nobody. I don't have to deal with these people anymore. Fine. I think they added like more things, like more clutter too, to kind of make it feel like it's, you know,
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
I'm gonna kindly say fuck you.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off cargo lift, $5,000. But I'll die if I jump. So who is paying this money? Yeah.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Thank you. Fuck you, narrator.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
How long have I been here?
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
Yes!
Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth?
Yes!
No. I can't just give these men
Hey, Paige.
such little effort.
Yeah?
A measly 5
You know the
minutes.
Anzac March in my town? It was in my paper
I
yesterday.
would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Damien's dad was there.
Really?
Paige?
Yeah?
Huh?
I have to say, I'm
Yeah?
still not
Can you hear
feeling
me?
the satisfaction of witnessing
Can you
true
hear me?
effort for a noble cause.
I can now.
Perhaps 50
Goddamn
clicks
Mike.
will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Oh, Discord.
No, it was like completely my mic because it didn't come through on the thing anymore.
Well, I find it cool that Damien's dad came back home just from the Anzac Day parade.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Where's 417?
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437. Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
I may be going. Now you may be going somewhere. I'm not. 415. 415.
Now, back to door number 437.
Ah.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Love you.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
Can I?
Yes, this is great. You're putting it
Oh,
all
I
on,
found it
Stanley. I
cool,
like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give
Good
me a few
time.
clicks on
He
door
took time off,
416.
He
We
got the day off.
almost got it.
Flew
Now the
home.
copy machine, do that one again.
Just to march in the local parade.
That's cool.
Instead of the big ass fancy one in
Finish
the
it off,
capital.
Stanley. 5 clicks on door
Now he went back to his
430.
dinky little hometown parade.
Yeah!
Tell us what he
We
knows.
did it. Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing.
He cares more what the
He's not
people in his
very proud of
hometown
how
think
far
than
we've
some
come
fuckwits
today.
in the city.
Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 clicks. Really now, what were you thinking? When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
I'm gonna make you
he
hate
entered
me.
the door on his left.
I'm gonna make the narrator hate me.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but
Nope.
there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No, I like it in here.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
But I like it in here.
Are you fucking with the narrator?
Yes.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Narrator, are you trying to force me out of the closet? That's a low blow, buddy.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Because it's fun. Watching you get annoyed.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right?
Yeah.
If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
Then why'd you put it
I
here?
never would have thought to mention it.
Then why'd you put it here?
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path.
Maybe.
Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Okay, so here's the problem. One, I'm not
Stanley
British,
was
so
fat
I...
and ugly and really, really stupid.
That rude.
He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your
Okay,
species.
buddy.
Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway. Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
You want to bet that?
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Fine.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No thanks. I'm curious. So what's down here?
The oldest veteran in town's 92.
Damn.
He served in World War
Stanley
II.
just couldn't do it. he considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished.
Now, you may think that's weird. Well, that's because he joined the military when he was 13 and he served in World War II for about a year.
All of my co-workers blinking
How did he
mysteriously
serve
out
in
of
World War?
existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
A lot of
None
people
it made
lied
any
about their age.
logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make
About a third of the Australian Army lied about their fucking age.
see his feet when he looked down.
The Australian Army just went, okay, have fun.
Wherever he went.
What?
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
What?
Simply repeating. No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This
He
can't be
was
real.
13.
And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He
They're
just
fighting the Japanese in 45.
I'm dreaming! He yelled. This
The
is all
guy also fought in Korea.
what
Damn.
a relief
And
Stanley
Nam.
felt to have finally
And the
found
Gulf
an
War.
answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone.
He just finally
He
retired.
wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't.
He retired before Afghanistan and
He thought to
Iraq.
himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may.
But then how long is that?
I'm still
50 years of service?
So, he imagined himself flying and began to
And
gently float above the
The guy didn't get too high up because he wasn't
imagined
a...
himself soaring through space.
Apparently he didn't have the tactical mind for command.
It was
But he was good at training soldiers.
And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid?
You know the kind of soldier I'm talking
The
about.
question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself.
He was an officer though, just
Why
not,
is
you
there a
know,
voice in my
high
head
ranking.
dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking. Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his
Were
life.
you going, how did he fight in the war? And you know the recruiting officer knew what his age was.
After all,
Yeah.
he knew for certain.
It's just during World War II and World War One,
Did the voice not see him?
they didn't
Magical
give a
stars
little.
just a moment ago?
They
How else
cared,
could
but
he
it-
explain all
but if
that?
it wasn't
This voice
noticeable-
was a part of himself too, surely.
Or it was
If he could just-
basically the thing was if you were a teenager and you could hold a gun,
Control.
they didn't
That this
care.
was a dream.
You hold a gun, yes?
So he
Bye.
closed his eyes gently, and he invited
What?
himself to wake up.
Can you hold a gun?
The cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh
You don't see that anymore because
this one.
no army has hit that point since the Second World War of, you know, depletion
With this dream.
Yeah.
I wish it to be over.
to the level of where they send people off to die with
Let
children.
me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I want
I don't count the Vietnam because they weren't really
my
bloody.
job.
They were farmers. They weren't
Live
actual
my life
soldiers.
Exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Okay. No, I'm not. I'm not okay.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, For just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
The end is never. The end is loading.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need.
You hate when you press the wrong button.
Door, I can make it through them all.
Oh, am I kidding? It's you.
What?
Oh, am I kidding? It's you. You always say that. You always press the wrong button.
Wait.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hey, I want to go this way! Bitch, I want to go this way! I see things!
Bitch, what?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable,
I'm playing
delighting
Stanley
audiences
Ducks,
the world over.
Why you play your game?
Step inside and see what thrilling
You like the Stanley Parable,
the
eh?
Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
It's just gonna drop me back in my office, isn't it?
Huh? So far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
I'm prepared for them to just drop me into nothing.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, here we go. Alright, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I'm just prepared for them to just drop me in an
I have to
office.
say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. Alright, let's see. It's the jump circle.
What?
I don't know you probably want to go to see him this far, John.
Oh, I want to jump! I was having fun!
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Fuck you! Wait, what is... hello?
Yes?
Okay.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Hold on, I'm... Okay. I just wanted to see what was up there. Now that my curiosity's been satiated. There's a cup in here. Coffee nut. Why is there a cup in here?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone.
Wait.
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Wait.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
$2013, 2013, that's funny. Trip down memory lane. Smile because it happened. Go outside, don't play for 5 years. Unachievable, it's impossible to get this achievement. Releasing a new video game today.
Huh. I need to open up what's happening. Sorry, friend is streaming, and I'm one of his only mods,
Those
so I
tough
need it.
quizzes.
Sorry for that.
It's
One
okay.
of my friends is.
It's okay.
And over here is where I keep
Oh,
the
he's one
keys
of.
of the Stanley
He's a
Parable.
small
Like
streamer,
this
so
stunning
he only has 3 mods, and I'm one of them.
10 out of 10 from Destructoid.
So I'll just have a tab up for him.
James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "We're so many.
Well, I hope we get to do movie night with Wolfie sometime. That'd be fun.
Than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game
What?
ever created. Did you hear that?
Peach, my daddy's in here. I can't get you for it.
That's how grand,
Huh?
all-encompassing
You've heard
the
this.
Stanley
I
Parable was. It was
I'm
literally
not far.
every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was
Bitch,
all
you
of
now
it.
have
And
recorded
it's
a
not.
recording of
It's no
Yoshi
games
being
at all.
homicidal.
It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk.
So, what do you think of the
Of
new game,
elevator content.
Peach?
What?
What do you think of the new game?
I think it's fun. I'm just.
Why? You confused?
Yeah.
I mean, the graphics look pretty good. They look like a PS4 game.
Moving passage. This
They
time
made
from
the French flag.
GameSpot.com.
I know it's just the blue door and red door,
both
but
a
if you-
richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most
Yeah, Paige, it's also the American flag flipped sideways.
I've ever been confronted with in a game.
No.
9 out of 10.
Yes.
Get it,
No.
Stanley? The game was.
You know that's why you have those
It didn't
colors,
need
right?
anything
No.
else. It didn't need new
Yes.
content. It just needed
Yes.
to be left
No, thanks.
alone. To spend
Yes.
the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of
He doesn't want the new content!
God, you love this game, don't you?
Bitch, I wanna go in here! Let me in, you goddamn asshat!
Asshat.
I wanna go in the room! Oh, smiley face. I wanna push the smiley face button! I got distracted for 5 seconds over with smiley face.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh,
Steam
no.
reviews?
No, Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Sorry, I'm not really paying a lot of attention. I kind of want to keep most of it blind.
You don't have to pay attention.
But I'm still listening to you. Then I can go, oh, that's what she was laughing
I'm not
about.
bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
What is going on? Oh no.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I?
Oh.
Tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Aww.
Aww. Maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Aww. escape.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes,
Oh, God.
a skip button we shall have.
I wanna... Fuck.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verb... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there.
You gave me a button!
Longer, but they're really... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley, not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those
I'm
moments,
having you to press the button.
folds itself outward in between.
Y'all gave me a button I can press.
I am suspended in its
Are you
unyielding.
spies?
I can feel the edges of my... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track.
I broke it. I think I broke it. I skipped past so much time. The fire alarm battery died.
What happened?
I
Did
don't
your
want to.
battery die?
I didn't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you because I'm gonna skip past this right now because I can't handle.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness.
Press the button again.
We have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes. Yes, of course.
We're skipping that.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
The end is never the end, 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 is never.
I'm just wondering how many times I can press this button before it starts me over.
Oh no, you're gonna push a button until this is going on.
Did I... Did... Oh. Up. Can I leave? This is creepy. Yep. Okay. Aww.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Is this still...
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
New content? Oh, okay. I've been distracted. Like, I have been completely distracted.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
2?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
What?
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Okay.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
New content.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
What? Please, no screenshots?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Nope, that's not what I wanted. Damn it.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
You're just gonna keep pressing. Have you done stop pushing the button yet?
Actually,
Yes.
maybe I should have gone with... No, I've
Well,
made
no, I
my
doubt
decision.
that.
We're moving on.
What is this? Oh, the jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Fuck you! I want to do the jump circle. Meanie. It just works! Oh my god! I have a feeling they were making fun of Skyrim and Elder Scrolls and Bethesda as a whole right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever and... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
I want the achievement. It's broken. I could sit here all day, so I don't. Fuck you then. Ugh. I'm going here. Why leave things open for me and not let me go through them?
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Merch. I want the merch.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful? Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you roleplay as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button. Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush, that was you! The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Wow.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Ass hat, you took my fun. You took my fun away. You gave me a button to press. I pressed it. Then you're mad that I pressed it several times. What is wrong with you? Can I? No. Billy? They give me buttons to press and they get mad when I press them. I don't understand.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later. Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Yeah.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
No.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely
Really deep hole. That's what she
I don't want
said.
anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again?
Yes.
I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole. I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled.
Nope.
I really do have... Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lies. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
It's not working.
Teleport button not working? You sure?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
What? Come back. Get me out of here. Wait, what? I'm thinking. What is going on? Puppies!
My head's strong. Stanley! Oh good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Aww! That was really fun!
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
A button that says Jim!
Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Fuck you, buddy! That's still 0. It just works. Is this still broken? I want this back. Will this still be gone? Will I not be able to press the button over and over again? Fuck, the button's still gone. Damn it. But I want to be able to press the button. Fine, I'll go to the reassurance bucket. What is decorations? The mostly infinite.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body.
I got a bucket.
Can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Can I put this down? I think I've seen everything.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Can I put this down? Collectibles, that's new.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
What? What? I collected it. Is it gone? Oh, okay.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
I think I've seen everything.
Except for the super ass, long ass ending that takes 20 hours.
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
You never did that one, did you?
I can't do that one. That takes like 4 hours. And you just have to keep pressing one button.
Yep.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go.
Playing more knob again.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent
No, I'm
video
still
game
playing
at
the
all.
same
It's a lot
game.
of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
Like the
Could it
deluxe?
possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
That's cool.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What is
Stanley
this?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I want to pop the rooms.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Why am I carrying a bucket?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I'm gonna follow along.
still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Oh god!
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
That a bucket is guy. Okay. Okay. Loading, loading, loading.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Dying of laughter.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Because you know the bucket is sentient.
I love my PC. I'm gonna get a new graphics card and some other goodies for it.
And Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
You love the game, don't you?
Yeah.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms, not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room, but at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Oh, Lord. Yes? Hi. Hold on. And I think I'm gonna stop streaming here. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, day. Bye.
Bye, everybody.